I got a kitten because my 3 kids do not like me, and even if the kitten doesn't like me, she can't tell me I'm a failure. Isn't that right, my baby girl? Where are you going?
I'm taking the cat.
Don't take my little baby.
So she doesn't have to see you. Come on, kitty.
Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
All right, welcome to Fathers of the Grind, episode
Be
182.
a little more enthusiastic.
And I'm here with Derek Teague.
Yep,
Daniel
I'm here.
Freitas, and my name is Tim Nestor. Hey, you guys had a great show last week without me there. I apologize to most of our listeners who immediately turned it off and deleted the episode when they realized I wasn't on there. I'm so sorry. But we're
Probably
back.
3 out of the 4 listeners we have now. That's not bad.
But we're back. Hey, listen, I had to deal with...
Watch your show.
We had to...
Honey, I'm recording the show.
It's a question.
What?
Do people actually watch the show?
Yes, because your dad's good looking. We get a lot of women who watch this show.
So, Tim, do I get an introduction?
No, Daniel.
I said Daniel Freitas.
Is this episode 183, right?
Dude, you got
No.
real quiet all of a sudden, Daniel. Is it just
Yeah,
me?
you're real
Is it
quiet.
episode... Oh, hold on.
Fix
See
your
here.
show.
How about now?
A little
You're
better.
okay.
Still pretty quiet.
Is it? That's weird.
I think it's just the volume of Derek is overwhelming everything else.
Probably.
All right. So anyway,
Hurtful,
we,
guys. Hurtful.
we had a lot of sickness run through the Nestor family household. Everything from stomach flu, strep throat, the whole works. So it's been crazy. So I thank you guys for carrying on without me. It's sad to know that I'm not really needed, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll get over it. But I do know I am needed because you guys do not know how to post the podcast without me. That is true.
That's because you refuse to
That's
train us because
I
you're
should probably
terrible
show you how to
leader.
do that. I should probably show you how to do that at
Refuse
some
to
point.
train us.
He does. He refuses.
Yeah.
Yep, there she is. Yeah,
She really,
she's back.
she wants your attention. I feel like she's got something she needs to say. And so,
Emily, your dad loves you. Alright, let's go.
she definitely wants your attention.
Here's what's annoying, and this is serious. She's been in her room the whole time, and then I just told her, "Hey, I want you to get your dirty clothes up. I'm about ready to record. Do it before I record." And now she's deciding to put her bed together,
Yeah. Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, makes sense. It's good timing.
Totally makes sense.
Sure.
I mean, she's only lived here forever, but let's make the bed right now. And
We've
now
got a
your
1-year-old
baby-
coming down the steps. Yeah, I'm gonna mute my microphone here in a second, but before that, I'm gonna say, Daniel, tell us something you've been playing that we haven't heard about yet, if there's anything. Go.
Well, first of all, can you actually hear me? Or
Yeah, I can hear you.
just making sure. So actually, I've been playing. I don't know if you had heard of it because they've actually been working on it for about 4 or 5 years. I think it's from the creators of Skullgirl, which is a 2D fighting game.
Yeah, I know what that is.
So the game is Indivisible, which, side note, terrible name for a video game.
Indivisible.
Yeah, this game looks
Indivisible.
awesome. You've been playing it?
Yes. I pre-ordered it because it said it had a couple little bonuses and it was like a few dollars off. And I had been curious about it for a while because I played the demo a couple years ago because that's literally how long ago they released a demo. I think it was like 2 or 3 years into development they had a demo, and then now 2 years later we have the game. So, it's pretty cool. The art is kind of mostly good, but it is a little hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes the art, depending on the characters, like if you're in a town, some of the NPCs are kind of deviant art-esque. Like they're not the best looking, but the main cast, all the characters look pretty decent. And the combat is basically akin to, Valkyrie Profile, which I've actually never played. I always wanted to play them, and I actually have it now, so I'll probably play that at some point. But so the combat is kind of the most unique thing about it. So essentially, you have a party of 4, and they're each designated to a face button. So whatever button, if I'm pressing triangle, that character is going to do whatever attacks they're doing. But you can mix and match as far as like if you're doing up on the directional on the D-pad or down or just hitting triangle, and they'll do different moves. And what you want to do is you kind of want to space out attacks to kind of up your combo and do more damage. So you don't want to just unleash everyone at the same time. You want to kind of space out your attacks so you're staggering the enemy and kind of knocking them off their feet. So then that way they take longer to get back up, and then that way your kind of meters refill so you can do more moves. It takes some getting used to. It's at first it's definitely very different and kind of out there and a little disorienting because it's not simply just hitting attack on a menu or magic or whatever. But the combat's definitely the most unique thing about it. So
I was going to ask you what you're playing it on, but that's a silly question.
Yeah, well, of course I'm playing it on the
Xbox.
Wii U, the Wii
PS4.
U, obviously. But yeah, the combat's definitely the most unique aspect about it. The way that you traverse through the world is kind of Metroidvania-esque, where it's just platforming, and you learn new abilities that kind of let you get up to higher places or through walls. So you learn kind of like a dash move that you break through walls and things like that. So the way you actually move around the environment is pretty unique also. But there's not a lot really going on in the worlds. So I just recently got to like a big city, but you're basically just going left to right. So it's not 3-dimensional. You're not roaming around a 3D space. And a lot of the characters that are just kind of standing there, they like say something and it's not of any use really. So that's kind of disappointing. But,
I feel like I'm familiar with that. Someone standing there and saying things not of any use. What is why does that ring a
Shut
bell?
up. Not even paying attention.
Oh, Derek, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were there. I wasn't talking about you. I meant
Yeah, sure. I wasn't even paying attention and I knew you were talking about.
There's actually more to the title. It's Indivisible: Derek's Life. So. But yeah, no.
All right, so this is not available yet. You have early access, or it is available now?
Yeah, no, it's available. It came out
gotcha.
last week, I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
So
yeah, this one looks really cool. I've never seen a video for this, so I'll check this one out.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a long time, so people have probably seen it here and there. I keep seeing it on Facebook, like the ads popping up. So
it's not turn based; it's action.
No, I mean it's turn based in the sense that again, like you have like when I'm the party that I have right now, each character can I can hit each face button 3 times. Okay. So you're taking each time you hit a button, it's you taking your turn with that character. So like if I hit triangle 3 times for that character, then all of his like moves are gone until it refills.
Got it.
And again, you want to space out your attacks to kind of that way you can maximize your combo.
Kind of looks like something I would be interested in, but then once I saw it was $40, I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's I am enjoying it, and I got it for like a few dollars less because I had reserved it. But I can definitely see why. I had read some reviews literally the day it came out, and it seems like mostly 7s, which I think I.
It's actually for the PS4. It's actually at an 80 Metacritic with 29 reviews, but some of them are crazy. Like some of them have 100. I know I haven't played the game, but I know it's not a perfect game.
It's by no means perfect at all. The characters are cool. I do like a lot of the characters and kind of the way that they all interact with each other. It has a decent story so far. Mm-hmm. The voice acting is mostly good. Some of the characters are a bit weaker, but they don't really talk as much as some of the other characters in your party. So, and there's still more to discover. I think there's going to be 20 in total that you can cycle between. So, but yeah, I'm liking it so far. It's not amazing, but I don't think it's bad. So, yeah.
All right.
That's what I've been doing.
I think for me, because he's asking if we played anything new, we're gonna talk about Ghost Recon Breakpoint later. So that is, I think, the only new game I've been playing. I continued Borderlands 3. I actually jumped back into Red Dead Saturday night for a little bit. Just played a couple missions.
Does that game still resonate since you have so long in between your play sessions in that game?
Well, again, and we've talked about this on the podcast, I do not give a flip about the story. So I'm not playing it for the story. I'm more playing it for like the gameplay, and then I will say I do enjoy looking at the game. Like, it's the only game that looks really, really good on both my TVs. Like, I'm not saying that TV over there is bad. It's not. I enjoyed a lot of games on that. But it does not look as good as my new one. And Red Dead's the only one where I'm like, I actually played it over there, and I was like, I don't know if I can really tell the difference. That's how crisp and beautiful the game is. But
At some
So
point,
jump
we gotta
back
do
and-
like a Cribs episode where you just walk us through your house and show us your different TVs and what you play where. That'd be great. Let's do that.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I still think Dan Phillips probably has the best setup that I've seen people share. I mean,
Doesn't he
my
has the
main
LED
setup's
lights
over
and
here.
stuff too, right? Like
Huh?
he has the LED lights up on the walls. and
Yeah,
stuff.
he goes all out. Like, I don't do like the surround sound. I don't care about lights. I care about like consoles and how good my TV is, how good my monitor is. And I showed the Facebook group probably a couple months ago how I have my PC. Like, I'm right now on my monitor doing this show, but my PC is right in the middle of my TV and my monitor. So all I have to do once I'm done with the show is unplug the HDMI from the monitor and plug in the HDMI to my TV, and then my PC's set up for my TV. And I will talk about this a little bit. I played some more Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Still really enjoying that game. Playing that on PC.
I've heard it's super short.
I haven't done the story. All I'm doing is like a bunch of like side quests and like strikes and stuff like that. Because I'm just trying to level up. Because I talked about last week on the show, I bought the season pass, so I keep trying to level up the season pass. So I'm trying to get as much content as I can. So I'm way over leveled compared to where I should be in the story. Like, I think the next story mission I have is like 100 light levels below what I am, or maybe 50 or 60 or something like that, which is fine. But I'm enjoying that. Borderlands 3, Red Dead Redemption. I am continuing Link's Awakening, not a Link. Link's Awakening. I got to the 7th dungeon, so I did complete a bunch of side stuff today. I got the what's the item that you told me to get a couple weeks ago?
The boomerang.
I got the boomerang.
Yeah.
I did the trade for the boomerang and bought my shovel back. So I did a lot of side stuff today and got
That boomerang
to the 7th
makes things
dungeon.
way easier. You can just kill everything real quick with that.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I was getting frustrated with the game. Not that it was hard. I wasn't dying or anything like that because I've got so many hearts. But I was just getting frustrated with some of the enemies. But I am at the point where I'm like, okay, I wish this game was done, and I still got like 3 more dungeons. So I just walked into the 7th dungeon. It gave me the little intro, and then I was like, all right, I'm just going to save it here. I'm not in the mood to play anymore because I played for a while doing a bunch of side stuff. But I want to finish that game, and then I think the next thing I'm going to focus on with the Switch is probably, I know I should play Fire Emblem, but I think I'm going to get The Witcher 3, and I don't know if I'll play it through or whatever, but I do want that to be like my main game on the Switch when I'm in the mood to do handheld. But I think that's pretty much it. I'm not playing anything new besides Ghost Recon, and I haven't played a lot of Ghost Recon because, like I've said the last few weeks on the show, I'm trying to beat Link's Awakening. I'm trying to play more of Destiny 2. And then I have those 2 other games that I still care about that I want to finish, and that's Greedfall and Borderlands 3. So I'm like in limbo with all these games, and it's kind of frustrating because I just want to finish them, but as I've said on the show 1,000 times, I don't game a lot during the week, so most of my gaming time is during the weekends, and I don't even do a lot during the weekends. Not lately. I've been tired, so we'll see. But
You're
I
getting
did
old,
play
man.
some Ghost Recon.
You're
Yeah,
getting old. Yeah. It's fine.
we'll see.
Well, I've been playing, we'll talk about Ghost Recon here in a little bit. Breakpoint, I do have some thoughts on that. I finally tried out Shakedown Hawaii. I bought it on sale a few weeks back. I had heard good things about it. I'd heard it's kind of like a pixelated, old-school Grand Theft Auto, but it also has some, like, you run businesses and make money, like a little bit of a money-making city sim as well, while also running around and destroying everything. That's
Sounds
pretty much
cool.
exactly what it is. I mean, it's a very retro style game. It's kind of got an 80s vibe to it, and yet they have modern technology, and you play kind of a washed up mafia type of a dude who is sick and tired of all these kids and their technology. You want to go back to the good old days. And you're just running around destroying stuff. Like, you can run over civilians and blow up buildings, you can rob houses, and everything that you do gives you money and points. So they're not exactly trying to be culturally sensitive. It's just run around and kill everything and kill everybody and steal cars and kill cops. And
So this game looks like it's like that one game you bought that was like an old school GTA game that came out recently. The
Well,
one
that one
that
was trying to be more serious, right? The American Fugitive one.
yeah, did you like that game?
I did, but the shooting was not real great. This one feels much more arcadey in the way that you play it. Like they don't try to make this a really complex combat system. It's just you just literally run around the screen and just blow up everything. The guns that you get, the flamethrowers, even you're punching or hitting people with bats, whatever else. It's all very arcadey. There's not really hit points, that kind of thing. The upgrades that you do mostly have to do with making money, and that way that allows you to
Oh
buy.
my gosh,
a
it
lot more
almost
stuff.
looks like I'm watching a video. It almost looks like an open world Contra.
It does have a little bit of a top-down Contra vibe to it, in the way that you just
Like
blow
the way the
everything up.
guns shoot and
Yeah, a little
movement.
bit, a little
Yeah.
bit. So that one's kind of interesting. It's very arcadey, and they do add a little bit of that satisfaction in getting stronger just with the money making stuff. So you can go buy car dealerships, for example, and then when you steal cars, or if you see cars around town that should be owned by them that someone else stole, you just knock the person out. You drag the person out of the car, kill them, take the car back, and get your money. And then you start making money on those car rentals and stuff like that. So basically, you're just constantly increasing the amount of money you make. The dialogue and cutscenes are just kind of goofy, tongue in cheek. Think if like Vice City were completely a joke and over the top, even though it is over the top and kind of a joke, but it's still kind of serious. This is just very, very serious take on that. So anyway, I found it to be entertaining and fun. If you see it on sale like I did, I think I saw it for like $12 or $15. It wasn't that expensive, and there's a good amount to do in this game. So if that appeals to you, that kind of arcade slash I wouldn't even call it GTA clone. I can see why people call it a GTA clone a little bit, like the old school GTA, but it's a little bit less that and more just run around and kill everything and then buy businesses to make more money. That's what I've seen with it so far. So it's kind of cool, kind of an interesting. I forgot that came out this year, by the way. I thought it was an older game, but that hit all consoles this year. That's a 2019 game. And I've been playing a whole bunch of other Switch ports that I couldn't resist. One of them being Ori and the Blind Forest. I couldn't resist, and I am a few areas into that game. I just finished the Genso Tree part. That game's just awesome. It's just gorgeous. I can't recommend it enough. Ori is it's one of the best games, and for $20 you get the definitive edition on the Switch. Looks great, runs amazingly. I'll say the same thing about Castle Crashers. If you for some reason haven't played that gem from 10, 11 years ago, fantastic beat 'em up game with some RPG light elements where you can upgrade your strength or defense or magic. There's tons of characters to unlock that each have a different magic attack.
That game was hard.
Or speed too. You can upgrade your speed and start shooting bows and arrows real fast. What'd you say? It's real hard? Is that what you said?
Yeah, well, so like my wife and I played it back when it first came out, and we liked it, and then we played it again recently.
It's
Man,
tough.
this is hard. I mean, on
Yeah.
on the normal, like when you play through the first time, it's not bad. It definitely gets harder towards the end, but when you play on like the new game plus or whatever it is, like nightmare mode, like because my wife just doesn't play games the way that I do. Like we're basically stuck on like that first area where you get into the woods and all the animals are crapping everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're just stuck there because she just can't handle all the dudes with the bows.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
just
once they start
basically are
hitting you,
leveling
if you
up.
don't use your shield to get out of the way, you can't get up. The arrows are just constantly knocking you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game is, I think, still fantastic, but it certainly has a challenge to it. But again, looks and runs great on the Switch. The remastered version looks and runs great. They do have a new mode that I have not tried yet. I've just been playing through the old classic campaign again. Single player is really tough. You need to have multiplayer if you can. Single player is still fun, but multiplayer is much better because you can revive each other and it's just much easier. I don't notice a decrease in difficulty when you play single player. It seems like they still throw the same amount of stuff at you.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's not easy. And then I tried out a little bit of the Mana Collection. I bought that on sale. Square was having a big sale in the eShop. And so I played mostly Secret of Mana just because I was feeling nostalgic and wanted to fire that one up again. I do want to try out the sequel that apparently just now for the first time came over here, the Trials of Mana. So I'm going to give that one a whirl.
It's interesting they came out with that bundle because it's the 3 Mana games, right?
Yeah.
And then they're remaking that third one.
Right.
So it's interesting that they did that. Like
so they're remaking the third one with lots of anime cleavage. So please be excited.
Please.
That's definitely happening. But anyway, so those are some things I've been playing on the Switch. Also, wanted to say, and in all honesty, I typically don't care about any mobile games unless it's something I can play with my kids, like we've talked about in the past, Pokemon Go, or if it's some kind of like little card game or puzzle game I can play while waiting at the doctor's office. Those kinds of things, right? When you really are stuck and just want to goof around on your phone. Well, Apple just released their Apple Arcade subscription service, and they have a free trial. So I was like, why not? I'll give it a go for a month. And my wife and I just got the iPhone 11s. They had a BOGO offer with AT&T. I wasn't going to get one, but when they offered us the BOGO, I couldn't resist. So I got one. So I was like, hey, I got my new awesome sleek phone here. I'm going to download a bunch of these games and give them a whirl. And I got to tell you, from what I've played so far, there's a ton of value that Apple has put into this $5 a month subscription service. It gives you access to, I think there's over 100 games in there already. There's a ton of games to choose from, and whoever is selecting these games kind of knows what makes a good video game. This is what I'm surprised by. I was expecting complete garbage, match 3, but pay $5 extra for more energy gems if you want to play a little more. Like, that's what I was expecting. But these are actually games you would pay anywhere between 10, maybe $5 to $10 for, and it's a complete game experience. I've been playing stuff like one I've been playing a lot today, for example, is Grindstone, and that game is a blast. It's basically it's a strategy game, sort of, where you're basically this big barbarian dude, and you have to map a path through these enemies, and they're all color coded. So you've got like blue or red or yellow or green or whatever. Map a path through them, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And as you cut through each enemy, you're building up energy to either cut through a bigger boss enemy or to bust open a treasure chest or whatever. And then you can upgrade things like you can upgrade to a shield, you can upgrade your sword, you can upgrade to an arrow that you can hit from a distance. And it's a blast. Like, it certainly has some mobile game trappings of like an overworld map where you're moving through and, you know, you can kind of see what your next level is going to be. But Grindstone is really, really fun. And as I'm playing it, I'm realizing, hey, they've added some good value to this Apple Arcade.
Well, with the Apple Arcade, like, because I didn't really know much about it until I think it was a couple episodes ago, the Easy Allies podcast. Ben on there was talking about how he was like giving it a try. So apparently they were really pushing like these games. They're gonna put games on here, no microtransactions.
I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, none of that gimmicky like mobile stuff. Like, they're actually going out of their way. They're like, they said, we're not putting that in these games.
No,
these are going to be
like
actual games.
Yep, it's like any other game service. Like, you know, PlayStation has PS Now, Nintendo with their old school retro, you know, Switch Online stuff. You can play NES or Super Nintendo games.
You can Bluetooth your if you're playing on your phone, you can Bluetooth a controller. I'm pretty sure PS4 controller to it, so you can literally just.
I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard that, and I've also heard that with Apple TV, you can actually play these on a big screen.
Right.
And I haven't tried any of that stuff yet. I'm just playing on my phone as if I normally would to see what the experience is like. And so far, I like it a lot. There's a couple games I downloaded that look like controller is going to be the way to go. But most of them have been very easy and surprisingly fun to play. There's one called Assemble with Care. It's mostly a little adventure game where in between the story moments, you actually are a fix-it type of person, and you have to disassemble and fix random items. Everything from an old school rotary telephone to a camera. And you actually have tools off on the side, and you have to, using the actual touch screen, you grab the tool, you bring it over to the item, you take the screws out, you have to replace the motherboard or whatever else. And that's kind of a fun little gadget fixie type of a game. I really like that one. My son and I have been playing that one a lot. There's a game called What the Golf, which everyone was talking about, so I had to try it. What the Golf is really weird. It starts out as a normal little, you just use your finger to kind of pull back, and that gives you the strength of your hit, and then you aim it, and then you let go, and that shoots the golf ball towards the hole. Oh, okay, this is just a basic golf game. Well, in the second hole, you do that, you pull back, and you let go, and you actually send the human being character flying instead of the golf ball. And you're like, what in the world is this game? And it gets wackier from there. It like
escalated real quick.
It escalates real fast, and it's very goofy, very funny. Some of the dialogue they put in there is very funny. Some of the puzzles they put in there are like, what? Who thinks of this? Like, who in the world thinks of this thing? And so, anyway, What the Golf is wacky, funny, and very strange, but I recommend that one too. I tried this game out called Earth Night that I knew was coming to Switch sometime later this year, and I wanted to give it a whirl because the visuals looked cool. Not a great game. It looks pretty good. It's like World of Dragons, and you're this female character who's just running on the backs of dragons as they fly through the sky, and you're collecting all kinds of stuff and avoiding enemies. I hate auto run games, so this is not for me. But Earth Knight was interesting, but quickly deleted. We tried one called Enchanted, which is one of those slide puzzle adventure games. Basically, your character's trying to traverse through this landscape, and then you get to these spots where she can't go on. You have to then do it could be a weirdly shaped one, or it could be a standard like 9x9 or 3x3 slide puzzle game. You got to put the path back in order for it to go through. That one's all right, kind of charming. The visuals reminded me of, like, the blank faces reminded me of Ashen a little bit. That one's okay. And then Choo Choo Rocket Universe is the other one I've tried this week. And very cartoonish, very silly. Basically, you put arrows on the floor to direct your little train of mice the little space mice, to try to get them safely to a rocket ship before the space cats get them. So, and it's just a puzzle game, and they move automatically along the wall like mice do. And so you just have to put little arrows on the floor in the right order to try to get them to escape. So anyway, those are the ones that... Go ahead.
Download all these, correct?
Yeah, you download them like you purchased them on the Apple Store.
Nice.
And those are the ones I've tried so far. I've got a whole bunch of other ones downloaded that I haven't tried yet that I'm planning to try out this week. Stuff like Tangle Tower I've heard is really good. There's a new one from the folks who created... Oh, what was the game they created? It's called Various Day Life. I want to say it's the folks who did... I want to say it's a Square team. I'll have to look that one up real quick.
Square Enix?
Yeah, I wanted to say it was a company that made a Square game. I'm blanking out on that one. Oceanhorn 2, we tried a little bit. I want to use a controller for that one because Oceanhorn's kind of an interesting game. Looks really great on my iPhone 11. I'm surprised how good it looks. That's pretty much it. That's oh, and I did try Cat Quest 2. Your recommendation, you had mentioned Cat Quest. Yes. So I tried out Cat Quest 2. I need to use a controller for it. I don't like controlling it with the touchscreen.
Yeah. But it's cute, right?
It is very charming. I obviously missed some major moments in Cat Quest 1 because right away you start out with a little cat and a little dog, and I was like, wait a second, this can't be right.
You're missing that lore, Tim. You're missing
out on that Cat Quest lore.
Yeah, you're missing that Cat Quest lore.
But and I did play this one called Card of Darkness. It's a card game. That one's pretty fun. That one's pretty charming too. And I downloaded it.
Seems like a good value overall.
Overall, I'm impressed so far. I mean, if they continue to say, hey, we're going to add decently valued indie games as well as side projects for major developers, and we're not going to try to nickel and dime you, like they have to have a certain level of quality to make it into Apple Arcade, then kudos to Apple then, because that's great.
Yeah.
And the selection of games they've got so far is great. You look through, if you just go to the Apple Store, you can see the arcade button, and then you can navigate what's been recently added, what do they recommend, all that kind of, or you can just look at the full list. So anyway, so far,
giving the option to play in a mobile capacity, or if you want to put it on your TV somehow with an actual controller, mind you, going out of their way to be able to do that, like that's a no-brainer. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I know that not all phone games have the controller option and Apple TV option, but many of them do. So I'll let you guys know if there's other ones worth trying out. I do think the Apple Arcade trial, you get a full month. That's certainly worth trying, and just see if there's stuff on the phone there that, again, even if you're like me and you don't spend a ton of time at home playing on your phone, maybe you'll be out and about. Maybe you're going to be sitting on the toilet for a while, waiting at the doctor's office for a while, whatever the thing is, right? Listening to podcasts while you goof around on your phone. Some of these are pretty good little values, and for $5 a month, there's a lot of games to choose from. So far, so good, and I recommend it. Even to someone like Derek, I think there's some games on there that he might actually enjoy, believe it or not.
No.
Yeah. He does love indies.
I'm coming around on indies, but I still think a lot of them are trash.
Yeah, that's because a lot of them are. That's the problem. It's the same thing with Nintendo eShop. There's so much good stuff on there, but kind of like with the Wii, they put out so much shovelware garbage, and they allow this stuff on the eShop that makes me just scratch my head. Like, is there no one minding the store over here? Like,
nope. Wild West, Tim. I don't know. Wild West.
I was looking through the eShop the other day, just trying to see, like, hey, what have I missed recently? I haven't checked in. Let me see what I've missed recently, and I'm just filing through all these just complete garbage games. I'm like, I don't want to waste my time with this stuff.
Miyamoto's just sleeping on the job.
Apparently.
I made Mario 30 years ago. I don't have to do anything now.
Well, maybe with the next Switch, they'll do something a little different. Actually, I wonder if they'll just carry over the eShop. Hey, speaking of next consoles, let's talk a little bit about the PS5. PlayStation 5 has been officially announced. Guys, I don't know if you knew this, but PlayStation's making another console. Shocker.
PlayStation 5.
So,
And hey, it's definitely happening. So they did confirm that. That's good. They confirmed holiday 2020 release window.
Yeah.
I assume that's when we'll get the next Xbox as well. Hopefully not called the Scarlet. I don't know
That's a
why,
code
'cause
name for sure.
I think that name is kind of stupid. But I don't know if Scarlet's better than Xbox 2. What if they call it the Xbox 2?
Xbox X2? Or, I don't know. Because then it's like Xbox X-Men 2.
Here's my question. In about, let's say 20 years from now, when PlayStation makes their PlayStation 10, will they be PSX?
Ooh, yes.
Or will they go with
I'm
PS10?
actually looking forward to, what is it, the PlayStation 9? Was that the commercial that they had when PS2 came out?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I can't wait for that to
Good
be
memory.
reality.
Good memory. All right, well, so I've got a couple of confirmed details. I think they're confirmed, and then a few rumors that have been floating around out there, and there might be other ones too, but wanted to get your guys' takes on what you've heard about the PS5 so far. So, of course, they confirmed the solid-state drive for faster load times, better performance, hopefully even a less heated system, I would imagine. Like, there's going to be less requirement for cooling systems. I don't know if that's true or not. 4K Blu-ray drive, so Derek can finally watch the movies as they are meant to be seen. On all his various screens in his home.
Until 8K is a thing.
Physical games, I think, are going to be using a 100 gig optical disc. And so games will still fit. For the most part, I don't think many games are going above that. Some might. Game installation, I've heard, is now mandatory. I don't know if that's something you guys heard too. What do you think about that?
Well, so the thing I'm most excited for is the solid state drive. Because things do load faster.
Yeah.
On a solid state drive as opposed to a disk drive.
Right.
And I would think that it's also producing less heat, so that would be a remedy to that issue.
True.
But yeah, like kind of like what I've mentioned in the past before, as far as like having these big open sprawling worlds, but like not too big, but just having more density in them.
Yeah.
And for things to kind of just have more in the games and for it to be able to load faster, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because they had showed that tech demo, I think, of the Spider-Man game on PS4, and they said, like, well, hypothetically, this is how it would work on a PS5. And it definitely, like, the city was loading faster and the game in general was loading faster.
Was that you last week saying something how it went from, or maybe it wasn't, maybe it was a different podcast I was listening to, saying it went from, like, 15 seconds of loading to, like, 1.5 or something.
Not last week, but that was a while back. I think Cerny was doing the
okay.
kind of presentation of it.
Well, with the game installation being mandatory, they're now going to give you some more options, apparently, or at least they want to. Not every game probably will have this, but for example, let's say Derek goes to a midnight release of some game he can't wait for. Gone Home 2. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And so he goes to the midnight release, gets the disc, comes home, is excited to play, puts it in, and fires it up, and then realizes there's a big download there. I think their goal is to say, hey, if Derek's only going to play the single player version of this, or certain number of levels, or whatever, like the idea is that you can tell it what to install. I don't know how granular that can get. Certainly they could split up, many games split up multiplayer and single player experiences. So like if you're putting Gears 6 on your system, then you could just install the single player campaign or just install horde mode or whatever.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, I know some games do that now where it's, hey, which one are you going to... I've seen it before where which thing are you going to do first? We'll install that first. But they don't let you pick and choose what elements to install. It just sometimes allows you to get into the game a little sooner. But that's one way, I guess, to kind of mitigate the long download times that are going to be required here. Home screen UI is going to be totally overhauled. They described a scenario where you don't want to have to fire up a game to see who's doing what specifically in that game. So, like, for example, on Rocket League, for the most part, you need to be in Rocket League to see what map they're on. Are they on a mode I can join? All that kind of stuff. You can see that they're playing, perhaps. But the idea is that the home screen isn't just, hey, Daniel's playing Rocket League right now. It's he's playing this map and 3-on-3, and it's, non-competitive, and you can just jump right in, whatever that might look like. So they want to overhaul the home screen UI to be more useful when you first fire up your system.
Hopefully it's faster too, because I mean, when the PS4 came out, I was like, "Oh man, this works so well." But like after
It's
all these
slow
years,
now.
with
Yeah.
now it's just slow. And they're always releasing stability updates, but like that's not helping.
That to me
So-
just sounds like techie duct tape. Just don't let it fall apart.
Pretty much.
The controller looks a lot like a DualShock 4. They're going to have adaptive triggers and haptic feedback for more immersion. They will have a USB Type-C connection for charging, which is nice. That way you can share some cables between other devices you might use. They did say their first impression of it was that it's a little bit heavier, but they think that's because of the longer battery life that they're purporting it's going to have. So, and the last thing that I noted that they've confirmed is this thing called ray tracing that everyone's talking about now. There's always some new tech that comes up with this stuff, and this time it's ray tracing. So I didn't know what ray tracing was, so I looked it up, and from Tech Radar, let me read their definition. It's an advanced and lifelike way of rendering light and shadows in a scene. It's what movies and TV shows use to create and blend in amazing CG work with real-life scenes. However, because ray tracing works by simulating and tracking every ray of light produced by a source of lighting, it kind of takes a lot of horsepower to actually render. This is the main reason we haven't seen ray tracing implemented in actual games until now. These days, ray tracing is actually achievable in PC games, and yet the biggest titles to implement this technology only use it in limited ways, like rendering realistic reflections or shadows. We still haven't seen a fully ray traced game. So a lot of lighting, reflection seems to be a big piece of this, but they're talking about ray tracing a lot now. So I imagine that when more details come out about the Scarlet, they'll talk about ray tracing, and then anyway. What do you guys think about what the confirmed details are so far? Derek, are you actually excited for this? Or are you kind of like, meh, I'll buy one when it comes out, but like, do these details get you? Are you pumped?
No, because I have a PC. I don't really care. I mean, I'm sure I'll get excited as we get closer to the launch of the PS5 and the next Xbox, but because I still like my consoles, obviously. But I will say one of the things, as somebody who's real shallow and likes console or gaming, I should say, more for visuals than anything. One of the reasons I get excited about new consoles because usually they take the graphics to the next level. I have trouble believing they're going to be able to, these next consoles are going to be able to go above what I'm already looking at now. Like, are they going to make the games prettier? Yes, because it'll be more powerful. But graphics-wise, as far as like resolution and stuff like that, I don't think I'm gonna see that big of a jump. Again, I don't mean it, and I know Tim's gonna be like, he's so pretentious. But the point I'm trying to make is that jump is usually what gets me excited. I'm like, I can't wait to see what these PS2 games look like. I can't wait to see what these PS3 games. Now I'm like, I have trouble believing that the PS5 games are gonna blow me away compared to what I'm already seeing. So the only thing that will excite me is as we get closer, it's not going to be the specs of the console. It's going to be, hey, guess what? If you buy this PS5, these games are going to be coming out on it, and you can only get them on the PS5 and take a look, and this is what they are. That's when you'll see me get excited, is if Xbox and it'll be more Sony than Xbox will offer some unique experience that I can't get on my PC.
I feel like there is a major noticeable jump in visuals with each console. It's just, it's hard to notice it until you go back and play on an old console. And so like from the 360 and PS3 to the One and PS4, there is a notable jump. It's just sometimes you have to go back and play those old games to really see that jump and notice the difference. Like even if you go back and play like a Splinter Cell game or something like that, they look pretty good, but you still notice the difference, you know, playing the Uncharted games versus Uncharted 4, you notice the difference. So I think it's there. It's just, you're right. The jump doesn't go the same as PS1 to PS2. That was incredible. You know, PS2 to PS3. Holy crap. PS2 to PS4, the PS3 to 4. Yeah, a little less of a jump, but still there. And so
it was still there.
It was still there, still noticeable. But I do wonder, I'm with you. I do wonder if we'll notice less of a difference in, you know, in Uncharted 5 or whatever, when these games drop, or, you know, Gear 6 on the new Xbox system, when we see these games come out, will we notice this huge graphical difference? Or because they've already done such a great job with how pretty everything looks, will it all just run really smoother? And now the environments look way better because of stuff like this ray tracing. And I do wonder what that's going to be like, if we're going to notice that big of a difference.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Just we need more certainty about games running better, especially out the gate. I'm sick and tired of these day one patches. It needs to stop. Just, the games need to run well.
Agreed.
We're spending money on these things. Like, give us a game that works, please.
Yep. Absolutely.
So.
I want something like Control to run way better. Like, it wasn't as bad for me as it was for some people, but I do want that kind of stuff to run way better. A couple rumors that I saw. I know there's plenty of them out there, but these are quote unquote more legitimate rumors. One of them is that the PlayStation VR 2 headset is going to be announced and released with the PS5. And the idea is that they're going to have built-in cameras on both the front and the back of the unit. It's actually not going to look or feel that much different. They might have some quality of life improvements to it, maybe the way it fits, the different adjustments available to you, who knows. But the idea is that they're going to have cameras on the front and back for a more complete AR experience. So now it's no longer just VR, but you can now actually see your environment around you, and they could fill that in with different visuals and stuff like that. So again, don't know if that's true or not, but that is one rumor that's out there, PSVR 2. They've talked about how the processor is this custom AMD Navi CPU. They've talked about how there's a new power save mode that's way more efficient than the PS4. So if your electric bill's been pretty high when you've put it in sleep mode, apparently they've done some work to make their sleep mode way more efficient,
Just
as
a
well
little
as supporting.
Side note.
Yeah.
A side note to the to that power save thing though. When they specifically announced that, I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw a bunch of people being like, "Well, I'm not going to buy PlayStation 5 now because that means that it's using less power, so the games aren't as powerful and aren't as good." I was like, "Are you friggin' kidding me, guys?" Like,
people are the best.
Jesus,
people
God,
are
so many dumb
the
people
best.
on the internet.
Yes,
and in the world,
and on this podcast. So that also said, it also said there's a potential. One of the rumors is that they want to support 8K Ultra HD visuals out of the box. It's one of those things where technically,
look at Derek.
Technically, the Pro doesn't the Pro technically support 4K, but not really natively on everything.
Old games, sports games, and like a few modern games, like usually like your smaller titles, they can do native 4K. But most games, like a Ghost Recon or something like that, is not going to run native 4K. It's usually like 1440p, maybe 1800p. Even God of War, which was an amazing looking game, was not native 4K. So I think really what they're realistically going to be able to do is hit native 4K easily.
Mm-hmm.
Probably on, I wouldn't say like ultra settings, but probably high settings for PC. Something that's like real detail. And again, I don't mean to sound pretentious because you can tell by my tone I'm talking normal.
Too late.
Here. But you guys, unless you've played on a PC, even if you're playing a game on native 4K, if you haven't seen like the levels, this is one of the things I do like about PC is I'll just go in there and I'll play around with like the settings just to see, like I'll put like Dragon Age Inquisitions on ultra 4K, native 4K. And then I'll see what the frames per second. For instance, if I do that on that game, it runs at about 25, 30 frames per second, which is still really good because that game's huge and it's like the graphics are like, it's crazy looking. Like it's absolutely nuts looking. But the point I'm making is the detail that you guys don't get to see, you're going to get to see it in the PS5. Granted, computers are going to be even more advanced, like if I buy another card or something, a video card. But my point is like that's what I'm seeing now. And that's why I'm saying, for me, I don't think the PS5 and the Xbox 2 or whatever it's going to be are going to blow me away, because I think they're just going to get to where they're like, okay, this is native 4K at high to ultra settings. That's what you guys are going to get for most games. And then if they're going to talk about doing 8K, they're not going to hit native 8K. Plus, let's be realistic. Most of you, Daniel, do you even have a 4K TV?
No.
Okay, I didn't think Daniel did because he's never talked about it. Most people are just starting to get 4K TVs in their house. And a lot of people gamers that are getting 4K TVs are not going high end. They're getting those $400 4K TVs. So you've got people that are just starting to invest in 4K. You're releasing the system next year. There's no way people are going to jump into this 8K. Like, you're going to get some people crazy like me. They're like, I need 8K. Like, I'm going to probably try to get 8K as soon as I start to see that become a little bit more normal and the pricing gets a little bit more. Because I think 8K TVs are out now, but they're like $4,000.
Yeah.
You
have to plan ahead, because if you don't start implementing that now, I mean, how would you even? I mean, can you just software update 8K into a PS5?
No, that's what I'm saying. They're not gonna hit 8K out of the box, right? Most people are not gonna be there, and I agree with you. They got to plan ahead. My point is, I think they're gonna put I think the original boxes for these two are gonna be, I'm gonna just say 6K. That's not a thing, but my point is it's gonna be in the middle. And then they're gonna release a PS4 or PS5 Pro or whatever they want to call it. That will probably be closer, shut your mouth, girl, native 8K. So I don't think these boxes are gonna hit that. I really don't. I just think they're gonna be able to be used on an 8K TV, and it'll be a higher resolution than your 4K TV. But I think it's going to be those mid-tier, those 2 years into the cycle of the system that they're going to be like, hey, PS5 Pro is going to be close to native 8K on most of our main games, smaller, older games, native 8K.
Right.
You do have to be careful with language, though, as far as like what you're advertising. If they're saying they're gonna try to do that, though, and then they don't, then that's when people get all riled up.
But they say they do
they
say it now. They're advertising it as 4K gaming. But again, technically they do 4K gaming, meaning they can go point out and say, Derek, we do native 4K on this game. Yeah, it's 5 years old. Nobody cares. When they're buying the PS4 Pro, if they don't do any research, I'm talking about dummies. I'm not talking about guys like us that before we buy a PS4 Pro or a 4K TV, we're going to do some research. But for somebody who's dumb, they're going to assume, okay, I bought this PS4 Pro, God of War should run at native 4K, if they even know what native 4K is. And that's why they say it's 4K gaming. They're not saying it's native 4K gaming. They're saying 4K gaming because they have the right, without lying, to say as long as they're above 1080p and they're pushing for 4K, that's 4K gaming. They can't say native 4K unless it is that 2160p. That's why you don't see them say it.
The language in this rumor sounds familiar then, based on what you're saying. It says, the rumor is, and it sounds like a pretty legitimate one, that they're pushing for support for 8K Ultra HD videos. Support for this.
It's not going to be native 8K.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying. It's not, and I know most people are going to know that. Like, there's going to be some of our listeners who are like, duh, Derek. But my point is I don't want people to think that's what these boxes are going to be so powerful.
Well,
no.
It reminds me of back in the day when we were
6K.
all about the bits. Like, there's always a new number to look at. Remember back in the day where it was like NES is 8 bits and the Super Nintendo is 16 bits.
Because that was the selling point. That's what I'm saying. For me,
PlayStation's 32, but the Nintendo 64. So like that's all we cared about.
So many bits. Still a selling point. I don't care how many gamers are like, I don't care about visual bullshit. Because then you wouldn't buy a PS4 or Xbox One. You'd be playing your old systems because you haven't played all the games.
That's true.
People care about being relevant. They care about graphics. And that has always been the selling of every system, 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. Why do we care about the bits? Because they were making the games prettier. So I do think the PS5 is going to be locked in native 4K for sure. I think it's going to have the ability, like Daniel is saying, well, what they're saying is they're going to be able to do some type of 8K, right? Yeah, they're going to have the ability to play on an 8K monitor, 8K TV. It's not going to be native. It's just going to be higher than your 4K experience. And then, like I said, 2-3 years
they'll have an iteration.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years in, they're going to have your Mark Cerny or whatever have another presentation say, guys, we're releasing a new box, and we want you to see what it looks like on your 8K TV.
Solid Cerny
Please buy it.
impersonation.
Yeah, that was very solid Cerny right there. Well done.
That's my gay Cerny.
Very flamboyant.
I mean, he
Very
is kind of
flamboyant.
gay.
No, but I do appreciate that breakdown. That is helpful, and I think you're totally spot on with that. And that is that they're going to talk about this in certain terms that if you're not doing your research, really know your stuff, you could find yourself thinking, hey, I'm about to buy an 8K console, and that's not necessarily true. So, yeah, just keep that in mind.
And then the other thing is, where are they going to go with, like, HDR? Because you know they're not going to stay at just HDR. There's going to be something else they're going to sell.
Well, the new
you
thing
on.
is ray tracing. That's what they're talking. At least for right
Okay.
now, it's all this ray
Yeah.
tracing about reflections and there's new lighting and the
Yeah.
stuff that they do in the movies to integrate CG with real life characters and stuff, and the things that, like, look at the Avengers movies. It's just so seamless. The backgrounds to the characters to the weird looking aliens, whatever else. It's all very seamless. They use a lot of ray tracing, very high tech technology for that kind of stuff. And they're saying that video games will now have access to some of that. Mark Cerny was very careful to say this is not at the software level, this is at the GPU level, because I guess people were concerned that they're going to require software to build this in, but they're saying, nope, it's right at the processor level. So that's interesting. But ray tracing, I think, is kind of the new HDR, and we'll see if it actually... Because I notice a difference when I turn HDR on and off. So we'll see if it actually has a...
Good and bad. There's been games where I've been like, HDR actually made it worse. But for the most part, a lot of the games do look better on HDR. But yeah, I think it's exciting. Anytime a new console is rolling out, I get excited. But I'm going to be a little less excited about these than I was for the Xbox One and PS4. And I don't know how close we were when those systems launched. In fact, I think I was just getting to know you guys, so we didn't really know each other. But I bought both those consoles day one. I went in, traded all my old stuff, old games. I had over $1,000 in trade-in credit, and I purchased both those systems without paying a dime, like cash, out of my pocket at that point. So I know me, there's going to be an excitement that builds up, but for me now, it's going to be less on, show me your graphics. It's going to be, show me the games. Like, what experience are you going to give me on this console? And also, I'm interested in VR.
Are you interested in the VR too? If any of those rumors are true, that hey, now it's a little more AR and they're going to improve it, does that catch your attention? What if PS5 has one option with VR and without? Do you think you'd go with the VR 2 if they offer it as part of a bundle?
I will in fact, I'm going to bring this up because while you guys were talking, if you notice, I zoned out for a little bit. I wasn't talking.
No, we didn't hear you typing on your keyboard at all. It's cool.
I know. I hate that. I try to be so quiet. And I'm like,
you're not quiet at all.
Still hear it. Yes, I do. I try.
Click, 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 click.
Click, click, click. But I was looking up this game on I didn't know at the time, on the Oculus Rift. It's called Asgard's Wrath. And do not be surprised in the next couple weeks if I tell you guys I own an Oculus Rift, because I'm watching this video and I've looked at all these reviews and they're all 90s and above for this game. They're like, this is the VR experience you've been waiting for. And it's an RPG. It's a first-person RPG. It looks like a Skyrim type game.
Oh yeah.
Apparently it has good story, good gameplay. The graphics look amazing. Can I help you?
Mom will be here in a second. She's gonna be really pissed if she sees you're recording her. She walks through the door.
So turn off the lights. Tell her to do the roll.
I was just warning.
You gotta turn off the other light too and tell her to do a roll.
Do a roll.
Tuck and roll.
She'll be really pissed.
Tuck and roll.
Do a barrel roll.
Text her and say lights are off and that she just needs to do a quick roll. All right. So, anyways, I'm looking at this game, and the reason I'm bringing this up.
Kids.
Yeah. What are you doing, Emily?
Taking back my blankets you stole.
I didn't steal any of those. That's your brother's.
Yes,
All right. So, anyway, I'm looking at this game. The reason I bring it up is because, and I know you guys aren't going to go buy an Oculus or anything, but you guys should at least look at it and at least check out the reviews. But this is the type of experience that I think you're going to get on your PSVR 2. Now, this game won't be on there because it's actually published by Oculus, so they're not going to bring that over to PlayStation.
Dang it, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but it looks absolutely amazing. And those are the type of experiences. That's why I bought a PSVR. Because in my head, I was fooled. And it's my fault. I'm not blaming anybody else. I bought it day one with my brother. So at least I didn't pay the full price. But like we bought this, and I wanted these type of experiences. In my head, I had this visual that I'd be able to use a controller to move around and then look around with my head, and I would still be able to have that fun combat. And that's not what we got with PSVR. What we got is click the button and your guy automatically moves there, and then you can swing, and then you can move. And it wasn't like, do you understand what I'm saying? It's not the
It's new
experience.
tech.
Yep.
You know?
And so I think this is where VR is going now. We're finally going to get to that place where it's like you're in the game.
Yeah.
You're not clicking a button to leap 5 miles
and with
over
Oculus, you're not attached with wires to anything. So
there. No, I
they
was
could
looking at
literally
the
they could
Oculus
literally make
setup.
you wander around your house and kill your whole family while you think you're fighting goblins or something.
I think that's the Quest.
It's gonna be great.
That's
I think
the dream, Tim.
The Rift, actually, you do have to be hooked up. The Rift has to be hooked up to a PC.
Oh,
The
okay.
It's
Quest,
the Oculus Quest, right?
the Quest
Okay.
doesn't need a PC, but the Quest, as far as I know, they're supposed to do an update because I was doing research on this. They're supposed to do an update where they can play. You can play PC games on the Quest, but the
Yeah.
Quest doesn't run. Like I don't think I could buy the Quest and then play this Asgard game. It only is playable on the Rift and the Rift S, which is the newer version. It's like the second model. So, anyways, don't be surprised if I get it, because I was already looking at what retail stores I could buy it from and whether I could start trading stuff in, selling stuff. I was like, this might be the game that gets me super excited for VR. Because it looked beautiful, too. It doesn't look like the garbage that you see on PSVR.
Nice. Well, I'm probably not going to get that because it's going to take a while for me to be convinced to buy a PC. But the Oculus does.
Yeah,
look
but
nice.
if, like you said, let's say the PS5 comes out at, I don't think it's going to come out at 400, but let's say it comes out at 400, and then they say you can buy this model at 400, or you can buy the model with the VR at 600.
Yeah.
Would you consider day one? Because I imagine you guys looking to get this day one.
Probably.
Well, I got my 4 on day 1, so I'm going to definitely try to get 5 on day 1.
Oh, I'm definitely, unless they come out and say something stupid, I'm planning on getting a day one. And if they have like some package deal with the VR, I doubt they will. They're gonna say buy them separate if it comes out at the same time.
Well, then stores will bundle them, right? And they'll take like $5 off or something. Yeah, stores will
Even
bundle.
like when GameStop bundles, they never give you savings. They actually bundle it on purpose to force you to buy the VR or whatever, or games, and they sell it at the same price because they're like, well, the PS5 sold out unless you buy this bundle.
I'm not even a year into my VR ownership, and it's fine. It was worth it at the price I got it at. I got it on for a good deal. There's some really cool experiences in there, and it's a fun kind of showpiece when you have guests or people from out of town. You want to just show them something fun and cool. And I have found myself getting really involved in certain games, like Astrobot was surprising and fun and great, and Beat Saber I've talked about. Moss was great. But other than Beat Saber, which is uniquely VR, the other two could have been great as standard platform games too. They would have been just great. So I have yet to have that moment where I go, this is why I have to have VR. Like I don't really have that.
Well, check
And
out this
so-
game. I know you guys can't buy it, but just watch a video on
Asgard?
it. Watch a review.
What's it called?
Asgard Wrath.
Okay.
And see if it's something that you're like, okay, that if they do this on the PS5, this is what I'm looking for.
All right, fair enough. Cool. All right, well, there's your PS5 news so far. I'm sure we'll hear more and more over the next several months. Probably, I would say early 2020, we'll probably get another wave of info on this. That's my guess. Well, one game I've been playing recently, I don't know how much more I'll be playing it, though, and I'll talk about why here in a little bit, is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Wanted to give you guys our thoughts on that so far. I'm assuming I'm not the only one who's played it. Daniel or Derek, did either one of you get a chance to play, whether it's the beta or the full game?
I've played like an hour of the full game.
Okay.
I did download the beta at the time, but I just didn't get around to playing it. I didn't buy it. So
Did you ever play Wildlands?
yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I just didn't really have anyone to play with.
Okay.
Generally, when I go into those games, it's like I'm playing by myself. Then it's like, hey, like if someone's around, but yeah.
Well, with Wildlands, they gave you AI partners,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I think it made things a little bit simpler because you could use your AI partners to help. In Breakpoint, You don't get AI partners unless there's some moment in the game later that I'm not aware of. It's just you. So if you play with friends, awesome. You can coordinate and do your work together. But there's no AI help, and I oftentimes feel it. Like I need that person to flank the other side or to help me snipe from a distance or whatever the thing is that I'm trying to get people to do. And so
That seems weird, especially if they allow you to team with people. Why that wouldn't be incorporated into single?
Exactly.
That's very strange.
Yep. But anyway, my overall thoughts on it. I'll just start with my overall positive versus negative feelings on it. I feel like it's overall a good game. It's a solid Ghost Recon game. I don't feel like it's great, and I don't feel like it does a whole lot that you haven't already done in Wildlands. So that's my general take on it, is that it's good, but not amazing. But there certainly are some fun and interesting things to do in this game. One thing I will call out is their exploration mode that you can turn on, where basically they give you mission clues and landmarks to look for and to find, but it no longer it doesn't hold your hand from waypoint to waypoint as much. You really have to look closely at your map and use your HUD and kind of use the directions and say, hey, this thing is west of this lake, and you have that's early on in the game. West of this lake, you'll find this thing you're looking for, and so you have to do that. And as you get closer, then things start to kind of pop up, like, hey, you're nearby. So they do still give you some very video gamey clues. They don't make it incredibly difficult, but they make you explore a little more and really look at the map and see the names of things. I don't mind that. It just takes a little more time. So it depends on what kind of mood you're in. If you're in the mood to really dig in and explore and learn the layout of the land and that kind of stuff, that kind of Breath of the Wild Zelda experience, then I think you'll like that. But if you really want to just kind of churn through the game and get through it, then you just turn exploration mode off and let them hold your hand right to the spots. It's a lot simpler that way. Derek, did you try exploration mode at all, or is that you just like, screw that, I don't have time for this?
No, I'm doing the guided mode. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the guided versus exploration.
I mean, I'm exploring, like, in the guided mode. It kind of gives me, like, the Witcher vibes, as far as, like, you're in this wilderness, and then there's a bunch of, like, question marks on the map. And so I already know where I'm supposed to go because I am playing guided. So I'm ignoring that and just going to the question marks.
Yeah, this doesn't have the exploration mode, I don't think, unless I missed them, doesn't really have the question marks. It's just
No, I imagine it's just
parts
blank.
of the map are just blacked out until you go there, and then it starts to fill in over time. So I can see the appeal of that. I think it's kind of cool, but again, it's one of those things where if I knew Ghost Recon Breakpoint were the only game I were going to play for the next several weeks, I would really dive into it and just enjoy exploration mode. But as it stands, it's not a game that I planned on playing a ton and don't currently plan on playing a ton. So the exploration mode isn't something that's super appealing to me. I don't love the lack of AI teammates. I feel like it requires you to rely a lot more on stealth than we did before. With Wildlands, you could kind of unleash the bullet hell a little bit earlier. In this one, I think stealth plays a much bigger role. And it kind of pushes you to really play with someone online. I keep getting this thing that just won't leave my screen. Like, press this button to join an online session now.
Yeah.
Like, it keeps telling me to join online.
No.
Maybe it's because I'm a loner. I don't know what it is. It's probably mostly because I have too many kids and I pause my games a ton when I play video games. I just don't want to play online. I know it's annoying. I don't want to be annoying to someone else, and I've just gotten used to kind of doing my own thing.
At least it doesn't force you, because that would be annoying.
Yeah, if it forced me to, I would have been like, nope, this is just a game I'm not going to play, right? There's just certain games I don't play. So,
yeah.
Anyway. And I do think there's more loot-based mechanics this time. Feels like Division 2 had an influence on the devs over at Ubisoft this time around.
Which I don't understand. Like,
yeah, why are they taking this approach, do you think?
And again, I've said it 5,000 times. I love, the whole loot thing. And I guess from a business standpoint, I understand because they want you to keep playing the game, right? So they're like encouraging you to get addicted to the loot drops. And then so far in the first hour, it is nice to go to a question mark, clear the guys out, and then see there's a chest, open it up, boom. This set of gloves is 5 levels higher than yours, or 5, power level higher than yours that you're currently wearing. I like that. That's cool. In fact, as I was doing that, I was like, I kind of like this game. I do want to say on the Xbox One X, this is my opinion, I think it's ugly. I feel like Wildlands look better. I think some of the things they try to detail look look better. Like it is a little more detailed world than Wildlands, but like it's just I don't know. There's something about it I don't like the way it looks, and I've switched.
Well, the first hour or two is very muddy, overcast. There's a lot of rain. Later on missions, as you spread out, you do see a little bit wider variety of terrain, and it does start to look better. But you're right, Wildlands has a much more impressive opening act in terms of how everything looks, and it's just really pretty. And this one is much more muddy and kind of gray and brown everywhere. Yeah.
So, so far I like it. I don't love it. In fact, as I was playing, I was like, kind of wish Tim and I wouldn't have bought this. Like, I wish we would have waited. Because I've already talked about in the early part of the show, these games that I keep saying, hey, I'm juggling and playing, I really do want to finish them. Like, sometimes I'll play a game of like, I love this game, but I have no intention of beating it, and I'm okay walking away. I'm not walking away from any of these games. So I feel like Ghost Recon was kind of a waste for me because I'm like, I know this is not going to be one of those games where I'm like, I'm not walking away from this. I'm going to play it to the end. No. In fact, I was like, man, I kind of wish I would have gone on the PS4 because there's a group of guys there that are playing it, and this game would have been a good game to play co-op.
Yeah,
I don't really care to play it solo. Mm-hmm. I have no desire to play it solo.
Well, it doesn't play well solo, I'm discovering.
Yeah,
so that's my biggest drawback. It's just not that fun solo. Like when I play Metal Gear Solid 5, that combination of stealth action, but also always having an AI partner with you that you can give it, instructions to with just a quick button press or two. I just found that to be like one of the perfect gameplay loops. I love that gameplay loop of solo play.
I'm glad you brought up Metal Gear Solid 5 because I didn't even think about this game being kind of compared to Metal Gear Solid 5, and I can kind of see it now. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 does it way better, and it does help that you have those AI partners, and it does have its own like leveling system, like as far as like the guns,
better leveling system,
and stuff like that. So I
lots of upgrades.
Yeah. So far, I would say I don't think it's trash. But I think I actually agree with like a lot of games media as far as I saw a lot of 6.5, 7s. This game's a disappointment compared to Wildlands. And I would say right now, again, I'm not 20 hours in. The little bit I've played, I fall into that category. I normally when I start a game, I'm like, this game is super cool. I didn't feel that way. I was like, the loot system's pretty cool. But like many people have said, Destiny 2 already does that. So there's a part in the game where like they even tell you these enemies are high level. And they are. I killed a lot of them because I took headshots, and you could kill them with a one-shot headshot with my sniper rifle. But if they spot you and shoot you, you're gone.
You're dead.
You're gone. Like in 0.2 seconds. So you have to be really careful of them, or really what the game's telling you to do is run away from them. You're not at that level right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the little drone you can send up in the air. You can tag enemies like that. You can kind of see where chests are, get a good lay of the land. I just
don't feel like like this type of RPG fits in this. Like you've already got the Division. That's what made Wildlands different than the original Division.
Exactly.
Like you could say, hey, there's some similarities. But they're different because one is more realistic and the other one's more RPG. Yeah. This is like trying to shoehorn RPG into a still realistic game, and it doesn't for right now. It doesn't feel right.
There's plenty of skill points to use. You can still apply skill points to different areas and become better at certain things. You can upgrade all kinds of stuff, tons of loot. So I think there's a lot you can do in this game if you really want to dive in. I just have not felt personally that compelled to do it. I don't know if it's a combination of the setting, or I feel like Division 2 did a little bit better. Metal Gear Solid 5 did a little bit better on some things. Even Destiny 2, when you think about like an overall gear score type system, which they use, like an overall what's your gear score type of a system.
Yeah, I'd rather play Destiny 2 than this for sure. As far as my looter type game.
Yeah, it takes pieces from all of those, and I just don't think it does as well as any of them, which is what's that's to me the biggest drawback of this game, is that it's taking pieces from other games that I really enjoyed, but it's not doing any of them quite as well, and the sum total just isn't all that amazing. I do think from what I've seen, very little so far of the story is interesting. John Bernthal's a great actor. He kind of pours himself into every role, even when he's doing mocap for a video game. John Bernthal's awesome, and his character, the mysteriousness behind his character is intriguing to me. Much more compelling than what Wildlands had going on with their quote-unquote story. This one feels a little more personal, a little more interesting. The setting's interesting, the island that you're on and what they're trying to do there is interesting. So as far as story goes, I feel like there's a little bit more there. I just don't know. I haven't played deep enough to know, does that maintain, or is that just more of giving you some backdrop for you to now go out and, you know, do your stuff. There is kind of a hub world where you can see other players, kind of this village hidden in the mountains, kind of a hub world. So I saw a lot of other players, and there is a big old table where you can all gather around and then go off on missions together. Again, I'm just not in a place personally where I have that much freedom to just randomly team up with someone and then be like, hey, I hope you're cool with me pausing every couple minutes when a kid cries or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just not in that place either. Combat's still fun though. Lots of guns and gadgets to use. I love the prone camo mechanic. They might have had this in Wildlands. You guys remind me if I'm forgetting this. I don't remember doing prone camo before, where you go prone and then you hit this camo button and you roll around in the mud or the muck, and now you're covered and you kind of lay sideways. That mechanic is really cool in this one because there is so much, you know, mud and overgrowth kind of stuff. I've used it a few times.
Is this Predator, the simulator?
A little bit Predator, yeah. A little bit. Yeah,
Nice.
And even when you get up, you're still covered in mud for a little bit as you run around. So,
Well,
but I found that
I mean,
handy because right away there's these drones that are scanning the whole landscape, and if they see you, they'll send all the enemies in the vicinity right to your location. And so when you see a drone coming, you get a little warning, and you quick go prone, do your prone camo roll around the mud, and just lay still while it goes over you. Like, I kind of like that tension that they introduced right away. Makes me a little bit. I feel very nervous in this very dangerous world. I like all that stuff. No problem with that. The actual gunplay is fun. You know, pulling off a good headshot's great. The sniper rifles feel so. Those pieces are all good. And so if you enjoy Ghost Recon games, especially if you liked Wildlands, there's lots of good stuff here. I do think it is. You get a lot of bang for your buck. I think $60 is not too much to pay for how much video game is here. It's just, Derek's right. We should have waited on it for a sale for it to go super cheap because I don't think it's going to really grab us in a compelling way.
I mean, if you and I could play together, yes.
Yeah.
But we're in different time zones. You have 27 kids.
Yeah. Why is it the number everyone always says? Why is it 27?
I usually say 37.
Oh, okay. All right.
So maybe that's close.
Didn't somebody say 57? I think somebody says 57.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's always a 7 there.
There's always a 7. And it's just funny because right now we do have 7 kids. So there you go.
Well, so the point is you've got way too many kids.
Yeah.
And then you also have a wife. So I'm sure you have to pay attention to her.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of pointless. Like, we never game together, and I don't even game that much anyway. So, it's kind of
is this
pointless.
Derek coming back now?
I hate games. But,
here's the thing.
I'm a little too grown up for this hobby now. I like to go on walks and runs and stuff.
Jesus. Even if this game seems a bit unbalanced compared to Wildlands, Ubisoft is very good at fixing their games, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They some of their games
they'll listen
when they
to the
come out,
feedback. I think this game will end up being amazing.
They'll make some updates and
yep, they did it with.
And again,
Rainbow
I've
Six,
only played an hour and I like
Siege,
it. I just wish it was like I wish there was. I don't know. It's some experience I would want to play with others. Kind of like what Daniel was saying about, hey, I didn't play Wildlands that much because I wanted to play with others. Well, that's what this is for me. And I'm not normally like, I have to play with somebody else. I'm cool with playing games solo. I played a lot of Wildlands. I
had some fun doing some multiplayer Wildlands. Didn't do it enough, but the few times that I got a group on there to play, that was a blast. So I could see this one being fun as well.
Yeah, I'll play it. I'm going to play it more, but right now I'm pretty locked in on what I'm playing until I'm going to say October 25th, and then I'm probably going to move on from a lot of these games that I've been talking about.
I was going to say Outer Worlds is going to be what
unless it's trash, I feel like this game's going to own me.
Yeah, but see, Outer Worlds is going to be on Game Pass, so I don't have to pay $1 for it. I can just try it out, and if I like it, great.
Yeah, I was so excited about that because I was like, oh, cool, it's coming on Game Pass. I was like, yeah, but I'd probably rather play this on PC. Well, I get to play it on PC free too. So this Game Pass is
Touche.
really paying off.
Must be nice to be you.
It is. I mean,
So entitled.
ridiculously good looking.
All right, before you go down the list,
That's
Oh, I
subjective.
thought that's what we were doing.
No, that's not what we're doing.
That's subjective.
All right, we're over time for this week. Thank you guys for
It's
taking
really
time to
not bad.
chat through some games. And we will chat next week. I'm going to give you guys an update, an honest take on how The Witcher 3 runs on the Switch. I've got it coming from Amazon, hopefully on Tuesday. So I'll give you guys an honest take on it. I won't just say, I love the Switch, so everything's fun on it. I won't. Won't do it. I promise. So I'll give you an update on how that one runs.
So you did order the $50 copy.
I did. That was a pretty decent deal. You get the full game, and you get all the...
Well, they
just get
did it
everything
for a
for
lot
it.
of Switch
Yeah.
games, like Dragon Quest XI's already dropped to 50.
Yep.
Ni no Kuni dropped to 40, which was a $50 game. So
Yeah, some good deals. Thank you, Amazon, for that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking time to talk. Appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
shut up, Tim. Just shut up. Timmer! Timmer!
Timmer!
Timmer!
Alright, bye.